Good day, mates! You're listening to your favorite podcast, United Colors of People, with your favorite anchors, Stanby and Tveesha, with full on energy. Sadly, she will not be able to join us today. But don't worry, you will hear Tveesha in the next podcast. Oh, wait, before we get any further, I'd like to wish you a happy belated Diwali and happy Diwali to the listeners who are still celebrating it. If you're wondering what Diwali is, let me give you a brief explanation of it. Diwali is this festival of lights and one of the major festivals celebrated by Hindus. During this festival lasts 5 days and is celebrated during the Hindu lunisolar month Kartika between mid-October and mid-November. One of the most popular festivals of Hinduism, Diwali symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness and knowledge over ignorance. So I thought, why not focus on racism for this podcast? Acknowledging, honoring, and celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, I'd like to talk about him in today's podcast and tell you about him and what he did to eliminate racism. History shows that all attempts at a racial dominance result in conflict and avoidance. But some communities without disturbed racial conflict can take advantage of all its citizens' potential and move towards elimination. Our hate is caused by witnessing the behavior of the Ku Klux Klan, our unfavorable feeling towards a person without actual facts, and the verbal abuse that we get almost every day of our lives. If not us, then there is someone in the world being hurt right this very minute. Before we continue, let me tell you an AFAD. That means amazing facts about Diwali. Although it is widely recognized as a Hindu celebration, many other religions, including Jains, Buddhists, and Sikhs, participate in this bright festival called Diwali. Now let's get back. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement, striving to end racism in America. We seem to live under an uneasy truce. It's been decades since Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech was delivered at the 1963 March on Washington. Yet, none of us can claim that our country has fully realized Dr. King's ideal of a country where people are judged on the content of their character rather than their skin color. Tensions persist, and we hear of yet another event involving race somewhere in the United States on a regular basis. Things are no longer the same as they were in the past. But why has it been so difficult for us to accept and regularly act out Dr. King's dream? Okay, here comes another AFAD for you. According to Hindu mythology, the goddess Lakshmi visits people's homes, bestowing blessings and whispering words of prosperity to her worshippers. Goddess Kali is revered in West Bengal because she is known as the annihilator of evil. Now, let's get back to the topic at hand. Following the civil rights movement, which featured Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. prominently, a slew of social programs aimed at addressing the roots and consequences of racism arose. Cultural education, cross cultural conversations, and present multiculturalism all have mandates that can be traced back to the civil rights movement. One thing has become evident in the pursuit of many groups' rights under the civil rights umbrella. What one group considers to be correct is frequently deemed incorrect by another. Tolerance is promoted as the right response to the various opinions that have arisen, rather than resolving the differences. Tolerance has no societal binding or healing power. It essentially entails leaving one another alone. It leads to indifference rather than comprehension. Tolerance allows the chasms between us to persist. In truth, the concept of tolerance does little to drive us away from racial isolation. Here is the third and last AFAD coming your way. Lord Ram and goddess Sita returned to Ayodhya after 14 years of exile, according to Hindu scriptures. The triumph of good over evil is also commemorated throughout this event called Diwali. What was the core of Dr. Martin Luther King's vision? Dr. King did not use the word tolerance in his speech or never spoke the word tolerance. Love was his ideal. As he said, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Before I wrap up this episode, I'd like to tell you about how the Indian and Pakistani teams showed respect for hashtag Black Lives Matter and hashtag Fight Racism. While the Indian team knelt, the Pakistani squad placed their hands on their hearts. Well, we have to end it here, but before we do, kudos to Anchor by Spotify. They helped us make this initiative start. It's free and has a lot of options to help your podcast be better. But don't worry, we will be back next Sunday with another interesting topic. Talk to you later. Adios, amigos.